Using Time Extender's Discovery Hub, I'm going to show you how you can automate the time-intensive tasks required to access, model, and govern complex data. Discovery Hub is powered by Time Extender's industry-leading automation software. Around the world, more than 2,700 customers and 100+ partners benefit from the expertise and flexibility built into this platform. Discovery Hub is an innovative new approach to BI that addresses an ever-growing gap between business and IT. On one end, IT is struggling to enforce data governance, trying to secure their operational source systems, consolidating and managing an increasing number of data sources, and cleaning up messy data. While on the other hand, business users are demanding self-service, fighting for access to the data they need when they need it, and confused by raw data at the source. This often results in an unmanageable backlog of IT requests, delayed business decisions, and conflicting reports. So how do we bridge this gap? Time Extender's Discovery Hub addresses the needs of both business and IT by bringing together the best of both worlds. Starting with the operational data exchange, we're able to connect to the various types of ever-growing and ever-changing data sources. This allows IT to secure their operational systems and gives the business access to all the organization's raw data in one place. Then, in the modern data warehouse, we're able to provide business users with consolidated and cleansed data that they can understand and trust. Since the goal here is to support self-service, we don't make judgments about what data is relevant to the users. Next, in the semantic layer, we provide department or purpose-specific models of your data using terms and definitions that business users understand. This allows for fast creation and flexible modification of the presentation layer. Lastly, Discovery Hub lets you retain the freedom to select any visualization or reporting tool you choose. Here's the TXDWA user interface. You can see the various levels of the Discovery Hub here, starting at the bottom with the ODX and its data sources, the data staging area in the middle, and the modern data warehouse on top. The semantic layer is then enabled in the cubes, click, or data export tabs. With our built-in connectors, you can connect to just about any data source that's available today. If we don't have the specific connector you need, you can simply download a necessary provider from CData's ever-growing library and get connected easily. We also offer a number of adapter data sources for systems such as Dynamics AX, Salesforce, and others. These intelligent adapters provide important metadata about specific types of data sources, including accurate table relationships and enumerators. Now I'm going to add a SQL Server data source so we can connect to our data. In this example, I'll be connecting to the sample dataset known as AdventureWorks. Once I've connected to the data source, you can see all the tables within the dataset listed on the right. You can double-click on a table to select individual fields. Also, by previewing the table, you can see the data in the source and select source fields that contain data that looks relevant. But since we're building an operational data exchange, I'm going to select all the tables in the data source and make them available in my Discovery Hub. Now you can see all the tables are shown here in the ODX and are automatically prefixed with the data source name for easy identification. To prepare our data for the modern data warehouse, we will first need to transform and govern it in the data staging area. Our client wants to be able to analyze sales by product model, so we'll bring in product model, product, sales order header, and sales order detail into our data staging area. You can see that just by dragging and dropping, we were able to create these new tables, and all the data movement scripts will be handled automatically. Since we want a simplified view of products, including product models, we'll need to denormalize these product tables into a single conform dimension. First, we'll relate these two tables together by simply dragging product model ID onto product model ID. Now I can easily drag the name field from the product model table onto the product table. Then I can easily rename this field to model name. Now I'll be able to see model name wherever product model ID is equal to product model ID. Now that we've finished denormalizing and optimizing our product dimension, let's look at our sales tables. To simplify analysis for our basic users, we want to pull some of these header fields down to the detail level. We'll start by relating our two tables on sales order ID is equal to sales order ID. Now I can simply drag the desired fields onto the detail table to denormalize. We'll bring in customer ID, order date, and ship date. Now our client tells us they need an easy way to see if they are discounting too heavily. To do that, we need to calculate the gross line total. I'll create a new field and name it gross line total. Change the data type to numeric and click OK. Once we have our new field, we can add a field transformation to calculate this total. You can see listed here the most common transformation options are available by default. Of course, we also fully support custom written SQL transformations as well. To calculate the gross line total, we simply drag in our order quantity, multiply it by unit price, and click OK. Now we've created our calculated field. Now that we've finished denormalizing both our product dimension and sales transaction tables, we can drag them into our modern data warehouse to enable easy access for our business users. And since the goal of the modern data warehouse is to enable self-service, we will also include transaction header tables, giving the business users more flexibility during analysis. So we have our sales and product tables ready in the modern data warehouse. But if we want to do any type of analysis over time, we will need a date dimension as well. I'll give the table a name, set the start date, and select the days ahead option, which allows TX to dynamically update the table to always ensure a sufficient number of dates in the future. We can configure a number of formatting options here. We can also support our client's staggered fiscal year by selecting staggered and July as the first month. I'll click OK to confirm my settings. What we're left with is a date table with just about every date attribute that we could want, with the ability to create additional fields as needed. Now that we have our date dimension, what I want to do is create a relation to my transaction table. So I'll drag date value onto order date. And then I'll drag it again onto ship date to create a role-playing relationship. I need to relate my product dimension to the transaction table as well. So I'll drag product ID onto product ID to create that relationship. I have now completed building my modern data warehouse, enabling governance and providing a consolidated version of the organization's data to the client. However, our client informs us that the users from the sales department are still having to sift through too many fields in order to find relevant, actionable data. This is where we move to the semantic layer in order to build a more relevant data model for these specific users. Over in the Click tab, I can create a new model. I'm going to name this Click model Sales because it will be specifically for the sales department. I can choose to store my data in QBDs for enhanced performance and configure some additional options as well. To begin building my Click model, I can right-click and open my modern data warehouse in a new window where I can begin dragging tables into my model. I'll start by adding the date dimension. I'll select the display date field and then rename this table as order date. Now I'll drag the date table in again, but this time rename it to ship date, creating a role-playing date dimension. Now I'll add the product table and add the fields that are relevant to the sales team: name, color, style, and model name. Lastly, I'll add the transaction table into my model. Here, I'll select the fields the sales team wants to see: order quantity, line total, and gross line total. Now TX will automatically recommend the relationships we created in the modern data warehouse. Now it's time to deploy and execute our project. Every time I deploy my project, TX automatically creates a save point, allowing me to roll back harmful changes or view previous versions of my work. Now TX is deploying and executing our project. This means it's automatically generating thousands and thousands of lines of SQL and SSIS script in order to create all of the tables, views, and stored procedures needed in our Discovery Hub. And because TX knows all of the table dependencies in our Discovery Hub, it can execute multiple threads of data simultaneously and intelligently reorder the tables to always ensure the fastest execution plan possible. This execution process is fully configurable with recurring schedules that can be created and monitored, all from within the platform. Now that I've finished deploying and executing my project, I can even use TX to generate a ClickSense app. Once ClickSense is open, we can see our newly created app here. We can first explore the data load editor to see how this app was created. Here you can see the script that was generated by TXDWA. TX generates and relates the tables using surrogate keys, which eliminates the need for synthetic keys. Also, TX uses the resident function here when creating the role-playing date dimension, which significantly reduces memory usage. If we navigate to the data model viewer, we can get a visualization of the data model created by TX. Next, we can navigate to the app overview, where we can create a new sheet and visualize our data. Because the data in the semantic layer is relevant and well-defined, creating dashboards becomes quick and easy. So let's recap. So far, we've enabled data discovery through the ODX, delivered clarity and governance by simplifying a complex data model in the modern data warehouse, and we've enabled the sales team with easy access to relevant data in a ClickModel semantic layer. Most importantly, we've done all of this without having to write a single line of code. By leveraging the power of automation, Discovery Hub can enable every kind of business user and liberate IT from tedious scripting. Lastly, TXDWA 17.5 enables you to deploy all of your databases directly to Microsoft Azure Database. This means that whether your strategy is on-premise, hybrid, or fully in the cloud, we support it. And with TXDWA, migrating to the cloud is easy. You simply input your Azure server and database name and deploy and execute. Time Extender, democratizing access to corporate data.